Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, you're ready.
Okay. So I am first on the agenda to discuss usage for available space in our buildings. So I wanted to start with a slide just talking about why now. This is a conversation that this board has had several times over the past probably 12, 15 years. So a couple of things are sort of occurring at the same time here. First, there is an increased need for educational locations for our students, regionally students. This is a need. And we've talked about that for several years now. There is a location in this area of the county or in the region. So when we are in need of an alternative placement, I'll show you in a couple slides where those are, but they are at a pretty significant distance for our students to travel. So that's something we've been talking about for quite some time. Also, our district trend in enrollment, which has been steadily declining, I would say we're sort of at a point that we're going to go up and down by, I don't know, 50, 100 kids, but we're not going to see the numbers that we saw in 2000, and I'll show you what those are in a second as well. And also, we're going to talk about what are available uses, like how could we use spaces in our building. So I'll cover that as well. So I'm going to review our enrollment trends, building capacity, projected enrollment. I'm going to project out to 2030. I could have projected out to 2035, but 2030 is higher than 2035. So I'm just going to stick with 10 years out. We're going to use an enrollment number higher than where we currently are or where we will be in 10 years. Again, talk about the allowable uses for our school buildings, and then spend a bit of time talking about the Central Bucks Intermediate Unit and their need and their active search for a location in this part of the county. And then we'll talk about how we want to proceed from there. So this is, again, not new information to those that have been looking at it for quite some time, but in 2000, our enrollment was at 2162. These are October 1 snapshots that are used to keep them consistent. And then you can see how our enrollment has pretty steadily declined over that 20-year period of time. This has a lot of information on it, so I'm going to leave it up for a minute or two. So that previous slide was from 2000 to 2020. This slide takes a look at our enrollment and then what our staffing has looked like in 2020, in 2022, and then 2025. So this is total enrollment broken down by full-time is the middle column, part-time is the far right. You'll see that in 2020, our total full-time staffing was 230. And for those that were on the board at that time, you'll remember that we opened full-time in person for families and students that wanted to attend right at the beginning of the year in person. But we also had a mirror staffing that were LTSs that were teaching online at each grade level. So that's why you have that as a large, like that's why our teacher numbers were where they were. And those were funded through COVID funds. So we have that, if you recall, if you're on the board at that time. 2022, I would say our, that has sort of been where we've been, 2022 to 2025, around the 204, we're at 201 right now. You'll see our part-time employees are primarily our instructional assistants, our highly qualified instructional assistants. These folks work directly with students. Makes up the largest of our part-time population. You'll see administrative numbers where they are, secretarial, and so on. Also, you'll see what the enrollment is at the top part too. So 1433, 1372, and this year we are at 1337. That will fluctuate based on students that that need that level of support. So that does go up and down. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the next 3 slides. So building capacity this is PlanCon criteria. So this is how, if we did have PlanCon funds that were active right now, what we would use to let them know what our building capacities are. So 25 students per 660 square feet minimum, 20 students per lab, 50 students per kindergarten for morning and afternoon. When we first started this presentation, we did have AM and PM, but it's still, you know, we just have full day right now, but that's the number that could be in there. These numbers exclude our special areas, music, multipurpose, art, cafeteria, etc. So for this year, October of 2025, our enrollment's at 1337. That number 1337 excludes our current 30 alternative placements. I felt okay doing that because it's not going to wildly change what the percentages would be across the board. So Durham, Nockamixon, Springfield, and Tinicum, they each have a building capacity of 325. Palms is at 577, and then the high school is at 870. So that's how many students could attend each of those buildings.
I thought there was a difference for the elementary schools. Wasn't there?
Not the last time that we looked at that, and he looked at it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's extra space over at Springfield, but we're using it for other things.
Correct, and that's not, I don't think that's counted in as using
No,
space.
no,
That's
that's
that.
Yes, that's the old part of the.
Yeah.
the old part.
Yeah, and then Tinicum was added on
Built by school.
too, so they're all at 325. So the top numbers are how many students are in each of those buildings, so you just do that calculation, you can see what percentage is in each of our buildings. So in using the October 2030 PDE projection at 1444, instead of trying to figure out which elementary school they were attending, it would be 630 students combined, and then the classroom combined, so it would be 64% in 2030. That would be the elementary capacity. And then you'll see at Palms and then the high school looking 5 years from now. Yes.
Where does PDE get that projection? What they use?
Yeah, so they're, and I can share that with you. I could send it to you how they do their formula and their calculation, but they look at live births. And I remember we've talked about this before, like, do you consider New Jersey live births and sort of the birth death rate combination there. It's more than that, but that's sort of it in a nutshell. Okay? Yes.
In your first couple of slides, you showed the trending from 2020
Yep.
to current 2025.
Yep.
And the enrollment. Do we have a slide that also shows charter schools and parochial schools and what their numbers look like?
We have-
to that?
This presentation does not do that.
Do we have anywhere in our grasp what that looks like to see that maybe the numbers really aren't changing, but maybe we have some type of a shift that, you know, we have charter schools that were at 2020, we're at 2,000 that were 10, and now you look at 2025, it might be 400. Do we have anything that shows something like that?
So, this presentation does that. We certainly have our number of charter school students, but even if every charter school student came back, all of them came back, and every student that attends a private or parochial,
We have different dynamics that are going on today
Correct.
that weren't around 40, 50 years ago, including homeschooling. If you throw all those in, I'm curious to see how that looks in the grand scheme of things and what we're fighting against,
yeah,
besides population and aging population, and the fact that families now are having children in their 30s and 40s
Sure.
as opposed to 20s and 30s.
birth rates are correct. What, we can get that in, I mean, like, we have that, and we know who we transport, we
Because
know
from a
who
township
our
level,
homeschool.
we're looking at that too from the income side.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, looking at even development is another piece too, and where developers are going, and it's not here. I mean, it'll be where there's public sewer. We're sort of going sideways here, but,
Yes.
great point. When I look at these numbers here, if all of our charter school kids came back and all of our, they won't, but if all of our, you know, non-public school students came back, we're still not gonna hit these
We're not going to
numbers.
21, but it might not look like 14, it might look like 16 or 17.
Could look-
No, we'll never get that high.
I mean, yeah, somewhere in here. But I understand your point. If it was, if there were many students that were, you know, we had 200 students out somewhere and we thought that there was going to be something to bring them all back.
Well, that's.
We'll have
that ain't probably
students
not
come back, but we'll have students go out and then they'll come back. And so I feel comfortable with these numbers.
happening. Yeah, no,
Even
I'm
though
not
it's
questioning
high.
that, but those numbers is the overall,
Yep,
the big picture. Bigger than the school.
agreed. So we
Sorry,
just,
Dr. O'Connell.
yeah, go ahead.
Did you just, I might have missed it, you probably said it, but you said classrooms combined equals 975? 64%?
Yeah.
Am I reading that right?
Yeah,
And that's including all the schools?
that's correct.
That's the three buildings.
That's the
Three
elementary.
Three
The
elementary.
elementaries.
That's it, elementary.
So the three elementaries are saying it's 970, no, elementaries are 630. The classrooms combined
Yeah, so this is taking a look at the,
capacity, that's what it was. That got it, thank you very much.
Okay.
That was the part that I was missing.
the only reason I broke it down that way is
Yeah.
now I'm going with projections.
Yep, copy,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Yep.
Wrap it around.
That's okay.
I'm like, what is going on, Saul?
So what we just looked at in the last slide, I just put up here for comparison. Okay, so this is nothing new. And this is in board docs, if you needed it. So still using 2030, 1444. This is including alternative placements because we're just using PDE projections at this point. And I also had, I didn't mention before, that our October 2035 numbers is right there. So that seems to be a good number to go with. So if you went from 3 elementary schools, which is what's represented here at 64% capacity, and you went to 2, you're at 97% capacity. So that does not include programs that we currently run out of our buildings. That is a pretty tight capacity, running at 97%. Not much of a difference at the middle school, not much of a difference. Well, there is no difference because we're not talking about Middle and high school right now. Any questions on a K through 5 structure? So if the question is, well, could you do it with 2? Could, but you'd need to make some program changes, which would be a K4 building, 2 K4 buildings, a 5-8 building at the middle school, and then the high school would remain the same. This is just a theoretical, could you do it? You could do it, which would then bring your capacity at your elementary level at 80%, middle school at 77%, and then the high school's at 54%, because again, you're not changing anything there. The changes would be at the elementary middle level.
Can Palms support it?
Yeah, so if you
So-
had POMs at 5 through 8, then you'd be at 77% capacity.
Okay.
Suppose we move 8 to PHI.
There are so many, like this, so I don't have a slide for that, but you would just, this would go up
Yeah.
and that would go
And
down.
for them,
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions on that one? Okay. So that sort of gives you an idea of what capacities look like and projecting forward in the next 10 years, what it would look like. So then what are the allowable uses that you have? I'm not going to read all this to you, but the bottom line and the most important part is at the bottom, it says the key consideration in determining how to use available space is the instructional value of the proposed use. So these buildings are funded for instructional use or to support instruction. So our warehouse, of course, factors into that to run our operations. Conversely, a school board may not lease or rent a space for commercial use. So there's not a Starbucks going in, there's not any other type of commercial enterprise that can go into any of our buildings.
Unless we sell,
Yeah, this is if you were owning and operating your own
which is what happened
spaces.
to the Durham Knox Mixon building and the British building.
Yeah, if
We
you,
sold it.
yeah, then you're out of it. Then you're out of those uses. So any questions? These are examples that include educational value to the community.
Okay, Jim, I don't know what your question was that Bridget answered. What did you ask her that you said would take you
So
out of that?
Yeah, so if you sell, like if the board chooses to
Sell it.
sell buildings, you've sold it and it can become anything that the buyer wants.
That was an apartment, and of course, Richardson said, school.
But they could have done anything.
Sure, yeah, I forgot that was, that was before.
Someone else owns it, it's up to them.
Yeah, so when I started this presentation, I was talking about the Bucks County Intermediate Unit and really our need, our need, our community, our region need for space. So currently, and Jim has talked about this location and has visited both of these locations down in Lower County. So it's the Pearl Buck School and the Samuel Everett School. They're pretty close together, but you'll see that they are quite a distance for our students to travel. And they have waiting lists. So it's very difficult when a placement is made. You know, families go together with their children to see if this is going to work, and oftentimes it may not work because of the distance, and it's not, you know, there's no really easy way to get there through the county. So the Bucks County Intermediate Unit is actively seeking and has been actively seeking for several years a building in this area. Whether it's, you know, not here at this point, but Quakertown and Penridge for sure, they have been just seeing what's available. So as I mentioned, there's waiting lists for these services, and with an available Upper Bucks location, the BCIU can accommodate more lower and middle Bucks students at Pearl Buck and Samuel Everett, and then Upper Bucks students could be educated closer to home. So basically, the Bucks County Intermediate Unit will move into the first available space that is presented to them, but they, again, are actively seeking a location. And that would be an acceptable
Or do they
use.
just want classroom space?
They need a whole building. I mean, we currently have IU classrooms throughout our district, so classrooms, you know, have been what we've been providing for quite some time. But Jim has been down to Pearl Buck and Samuel Everett, and those are
They have
full
their own
building.
administrations, lots of teachers, lots of staff.
run by the IU.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did they not at one point house themselves over at the Haycock Elementary School for a period of time?
So that's the, yep,
This
that was
is
the WOW
the
program.
Preschool
Yeah.
services were there.
Yep,
And
I think
they pulled out because they had to pull out. The county and the
Hmm.
township is now realizing that they have a failed septic system over there.
Oh.
The county has shut down part of that building for public use.
yeah,
Oh, that's out there.
So,
Yeah, that
now
was
it's
always
out
been
there
out
even
there.
more.
so,
Yes.
so we would be looking then to relocate the administrative offices as well?
So I'll share with you that there's been no decision on anything, and I'm not presenting a building. I'm sort of sharing what can be done, and the committee is going to need to provide some direction how we proceed.
But it was stated that they would be looking at the whole building, Bucks County, the whole building.
They're looking for a whole building.
Okay.
They are. And the size of the building will determine how many students they can educate. So, you know, not all buildings are obviously created equally in capacity either. So, any questions on this one? Because the next slide is, what would the committee like to do? These are just two options. There's numerous, but conclude discussions of buildings and ground on this topic at this time, or discuss additional information that the committee would like to review on this issue, and then some sort of timeline for either future presentations or future action or anything along those lines.
Just let me say, I was involved with the closing of the building at Bridgeton. And one of the movers of closing the building was that we could better use resources at the other 3 elementary buildings instead of keeping 4. one of those options was extra administrator. The result was that we could do a better job teaching the kids with 3 buildings than we could with 4. I
What
think,
was the student population of the
Well,
elementary?
that's-
Bridgeton closed in what, like 72?
No.
97.
Bridgeton was 97?
Mhm.
Yes.
72 or 4 was not mixed.
Not Mixon. Okay.
I forget what I was talking about now.
So you're talking about better use of resources?
Yes.
With 3 as opposed to 4, because you had administrators sharing and,
Yeah, we had 4 principals.
correct,
Yeah,
So
so it was a consolidation issue that,
basically, yes, but it. if you-
more efficient use of
More efficient,
resources,
there you go.
over 3
Smaller
buildings at
area.
that time instead of 4.
And at this time, it seems as though we're not, I mean, we can't do anything different at the high school. The middle school is pretty well under enrolled, if you want to consider it that.
Yeah,
So, I think what we would need to do would be to come up with a scenario, a plan, whatever you want to call it, where you do a better job with 2 elementary buildings instead of 3. And if you can't-
consolidating the students and the resources to 2, since we've drawn down the population, so to speak.
So,
Population.
Bridget, can we look at, this may not be available, this may be a deeper dive for the
Sure.
committee,
yeah,
but things that are other than physical classroom space, things like areas that are used for speech therapy. I'm trying to think what else. I know at Durham Knox, they have a calm down room. Trying to think what other.
Pre-K.
Well, pre-K
Pre-K.
Pre-K
yeah.
is in there too, yeah. But what? Combining buildings, how is that going to affect those spaces?
Yeah.
And the number of students that would be needing those spaces? Because sometimes, well, actually I read it in teacher surveys for the comprehensive plan, that there's not enough spaces for those kinds of things. And they're,
well, that would fall under the consolidated. If there are 1 or 2 students at 3 buildings, there could be 4 students at 2 buildings.
right, so that's why I
same-
I
said,
understand your question.
so I'm not sure where, like, how you figure that out.
Yeah,
Yeah, but, so I would just share that.
I mean,
A
at
K
90,
through 5, you're at 95% capacity, like,
there's
that is
no,
tight.
No wiggle.
That is, like, that is tight. With,
You're moving
K5,
5th grade up though.
right, at K4, you're at 80.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking in,
But those small rooms aren't included in this, because they have to be at a certain number to be included.
yeah.
So those small, like the music, not the big music room, but the lesson rooms, like when I think of Durham Knox, like there are
Right.
smaller spaces that
They don't count.
they don't count in
I
that.
mean, I was in the library today and the speech room is this, no,
Mm-hmm,
granted, she has 1 or 2 kids in there.
Correct.
So I see that as
yeah,
appropriate, but
so
I
all of
didn't know
those,
if counseling spaces or,
yep,
so
all those
kinds of-
spaces still exist in this plan,
In this
because this only reflects those classrooms that can accommodate 25 students in a 660 square foot space
Okay,
at a minimum. So that's not counting your counseling office, it's not counting your instrumental rooms, it's not counting those smaller spaces. So those would still exist where they are, they're not in there. Multipurpose room's not in there, art room is not in there,
Music room.
music room, so
Okay,
Can I ask if the IU is interested, because I think our discussions would need to be based upon the interest of the IU, and if they would have to have the whole building. Because if we could still keep our district offices there, if we could keep our pre-K there, if we could use a portion of that space, it would make a big difference, I think, in whether or not we would want to give that up.
So what the IU would do, sorry, Jen, did you want to take it?
Is
No,
that
you're
an
fine.
assumption that you're thinking during Nakamitsa, or we're thinking of other buildings?
Well,
Are we assuming that it's during Nakamitsa?
that would.
Excuse
that
me,
would
are we
be-
assuming that it's during Nakamitsa?
We shouldn't, but.
We should, okay, yeah.
Because it's the middle location, you know, we wouldn't go in.
So the board's gonna need to make that call. What the IU will do is come through and look at buildings, and spaces. And I don't have numbers for you as to like what could be the revenue, because
Mhm.
they're gonna need to determine what they would need to do to a building to make it work for their needs. Now, our buildings are in great shape. Thank you, Al. So they're not gonna come in and need to put a new, like, you've maintained our buildings really well. When the IU sometimes have to go into spaces, there's major things that they need to do to make that space a place where they can educate kids. We know that all of our buildings are able to do that. They do it now. They're in good repair. You
The
know,
only thing they could possibly do would be to centrally air condition the building.
maybe, but that
we're
would
talking
be.
about doing that anyway.
Right, and that would be all the conversation that would happen around what needs to be done, what would the district want to do, because it's still a district building, that the whole thing is being leased out, so it's still district property. Karen?
So what's our why? I mean, is it because we want to earn money from the IU? I mean, what's the why for doing this? Is it better programs for our students? Is it money saving?
Yes and yes.
But how much?
So Karen, this is we've
Yeah, right.
talked about it many
I
times.
think that's a big question to answer. Like, why would we do this? What value does it bring to our students and to our community? And if it's financial, okay, great, but then let's know that.
And we have a sense how many students that right now that we'd have to ship to the lower end of the county, and what is that drive?
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
would be-
I mean, that's a big one,
That would be part of the scale,
right?
they would be measured, because I know that ride down there is a minimum of an hour. There is no road to go to.
the building that, the
Several
the Everett building and the Buck
Buck.
building.
Yeah.
Are they still owned by Neshaminy School District?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so that would be the,
The IU is currently not allowed to own property.
Not
Other than,
They can't
IU
own
is-
they
property.
can't own property, okay.
other than administrative buildings. Now they can do that, but they can't.
So, okay,
Now they're working,
And that's a school code issue, that's,
yeah, okay.
but I think it comes down to
So
the district would do, if we could do a better job all around, save money, but the bottom line is to do a good job for the kids.
Right. And I think that would be exactly what you said. And then what does that mean? What does that look like? Does it mean that, kids going in 5th grade into middle school means that they get opportunities? I don't know. I just, that's what I'm saying. I just think the why piece is really, really important.
Are there any current models, 5 through 8? Any districts that have a 5 through 8 middle school?
middle schools do vary between 5 or 6. I know that there are ones in the county that do have 5th grade there, which is why certifications were a challenge, because some, if it's K through 6 building, for example, it's an elementary cert. So, I mean, I guess what I'm asking right now is, do you want me to go forth and share with you what programming could look like, or how resources can be reallocated? Because I'm again happy to do that, but I don't want to do that preemptively if.
Well, I'd like to see at 80% capacity K4,
Mhm.
I'd like to see what those classroom enrollments would look like,
Yep,
approximately.
yep.
Because you can't, I mean, but even if you use today's classrooms, are we
Sure.
talking about a difference of classrooms that are at, I know we have some as low as 16 and
Yeah.
17, and we have some as high as 23, I think.
Yep.
Or somewhere around there. You know, are we changing that dramatically? What does that
Okay.
look like?
Or you'd be adding the teachers who are at whatever school is closing aren't just fired.
No,
They'd be
no,
going to the others, so
right,
you
but there
might
is gonna
have-
be, there will be classroom, because you're gonna be cutting down the number of classrooms.
Maybe.
I don't see it like that. I see it as, so if, you have a first grade at one elementary school, and you split those students up, instead of having maybe 2 at the other or 1, it increases. You're not gonna jam more students into the same existing classrooms.
Yeah, so we're currently
It's-
singletons at Tinicum. So
Correct.
Tinicum has
Yeah.
a
So they
full,
have,
One
they have the
class per
ability
grade.
to have 2
correct,
per grade,
correct.
Yeah.
And
or
all of our
3.
elementaries at one time did have
2 per
2,
grade.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Springfield Durham has 2 per grade right now. Springfield,
Has 2.
It's half and half. I think.
yeah,
Yeah, there's some that have 1 and some that have 2.
Yeah, but if you had to up it to 3 per grade, the schools could handle that.
yeah. So one of the things that I'm hearing is what would classroom enrollments look like going from 3 to 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, something that's,
Sylvia has a question.
Sylvia has a speech, that's
Sylvia
what
has
she
a-
always.
Oh,
Speech.
I'll go first then.
Yeah. So a couple observations. Y'all know that I was very passionate about this discussion at Tinicum. And I think the critical piece that I saw as a parent at the time was, number one, there was concern about what was going to happen to the building at Tinicum because it was really part of the community there. And many people felt a certain way about Bridgeton turning over and then turning into the River Valley Waldorf School, which pulled even more students away. So the idea that we'd have yet another private school or charter school move into the neighborhood was hard, quite frankly, for the neighborhood. So whole lot of concerns there. So I said, so in looking at the idea that we have an opportunity, and simply that right now,
Yeah.
with the idea to continue to service our own children in a building in an increasingly growing population.
Right.
At least to me, tempers that fear that I had at the Tinicum discussion. So in my opinion, we at least have to take that proposal or this opportunity and do something with. That's not to say that we're going to accept it, but I think we have an obligation to look into it. The second piece, or maybe it's the 5th or the 6th, I don't know how long I've been talking. Great, keep going. I'm numbering them, so we keep moving. The other piece that I saw was what's already starting, that it became so very complicated okay, so now 5th graders are riding the bus with 9th graders. How is that gonna work? Are the bus times gonna get shorter or longer? And what are the actual classrooms gonna look like? And,
Seniors.
5th graders on the bus with seniors. So many of those things that at the time, close your ears, Jim, but it didn't feel like the board was prepared to answer. There was just so much of it. Right, it's a lot. I mean, there's contingent, and every parent would walk up and come up with the other thing that they're worried about, and rightfully so. So I don't know that this discussion is simple. I think we have an obligation to have it because the IU has approached us and has picked on a need that I think is palpable to us. I personally would hire a consultant to work through this, give us proposals, and move through it professionally and full-time. Because I don't feel prepared to answer all those questions. I don't know that I know Bridget could, but there's a lot there. And I think I would feel a lot better knowing, to Karen's point,
that somebody's crunched all these numbers with Chris. This is the amount of money we spend. This is the amount of money we could put back into the district to offer that singleton calculus class that only one kid registered for, all of the scheduling problems that we're talking about. I think that is a conversation with the community that's worth having. Like if we lease this building out and move some of that money back into a really, really fulsome X, Y, and Z. But I don't know that, I know that I'll speak for me. I don't know that I'm prepared to consider all those contingencies, given that I have a family and a job and all those things. So I would prefer to kind of have somebody professionally look at that. I don't know if that meets the timing with the IU, but that's where my brain is.
I guess
About page 6.
the question there is whether Bridget feels that she could do that with her team. If not,
That's a
then
lot, it's a lot.
that's okay too.
Yeah. See what Saul has to say.
I have a question. Thank you, Chris. We were talking about also useful life of buildings, right? Each building they don't have an infinite time we can use them. Can compare them to a point till we can't prepare them anymore, right? So that would be another consideration. If we're looking to lease one out to another entity, right? I'm a property manager, I'm a builder, I'm gonna get rid of my dogs first, okay? That's the way I see it. If I'm gonna let something, I wanna see what the numbers have been crunched per building and see what building costs us the most to keep it up and running, to include utilities, maintenance and repair, servicing. Okay, I think that's something that we'll also have to add to this equation here. Another question I have, is it possible that the IU take half a building? Would that be a possibility? Okay, so we have to actually, it's like, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. I saw a Tinicum where less than 50%, right? And they have a portion of the building and we keep the other to offset costs instead of closing a building down. These are just things that come through my mind real quickly there, but, by the way, my children, I love the school, a great place, but
Yes.
can they share a space? Is that allowed, is that legal? I don't know. But I think it's something that we could consider, right? You say, hey, you guys want to get a footprint, a toehold in a building first, and who knows what's going to happen down the road. It'll probably cause the least amount of heartache or pain, and just based on the numbers. And then, was it you, Dr. Conley, you brought up I think we call it the replacement rate in society. To replace ourselves, you need 2.1 births per year per family, right?
Yeah, well, that's what PD projections, they look at live birth rates and then death rates and sort of do a calculation to,
Right. So in our country right now, I know in our country, because I like numbers and I look at them, not as much as Chris, God bless you. We're at 1.6 in our country right now. We need 2.1 to replace ourselves. We're not there. And our projections that are going out, and you had it till 2030 or
2035,
I didn't see it. What was that?
right there.
Right there.
1438.
So 1438, and we started at 2020, we were at 2200?
Close to.
Yeah, close to it,
21,
right?
6, yeah.
So, our numbers aren't going in the right direction. And I love what the wonderful gentleman in the corner brought up here, that, our other, I'll soft, be nice. Our other entities that take away the children from the brick and mortar to the charters, and, I have nothing against anything like that.
Use the word compliment.
Yeah, compliment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm just very curious what that number is as well. You brought up a fantastic point, and, we don't know what we don't know, right? A couple outliers there. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
I can tell you from a township perspective, we are very much, not just Springfield Township, the supervisors as a whole are looking at that and talking about development. And our township is looking at putting a septic system in. Right now, we really only have one full septic system, and that's over in Regalsville. So partial in Springfield Township, and that's it. Oh, excuse me, the school has a septic.
I was gonna say, we've got
Yeah,
one.
but you have any houses tied into it?
We've got buildings tied.
You have buildings, but you don't have homes, you don't have residents.
Correct.
So we are actually looking at that in Springfield Township, and that is gonna be one of the only ways that you're going to increase.
Well, that was the presentation we had a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I'll be over at Springfield
Durham's not
Township.
gonna do it either.
Well, the other,
We're gonna
The other
still
thing-
talk about it, but.
is that if you look at, you said the IU will take the first building.
Zion Hill has.
and the
Whether
other-
it's here or Quakertown or Penridge.
Yeah, but think about the development that's going on in Quakertown and Penridge. It can't
We'll
be
go through all this.
considering having empty space. I
Cora,
just don't
I just know that they're
even.
very actively looking. at
Zion Hill
I
this.
has
have been
public
on
sewer.
a tour in the northern Bucks County.
Zion
Not
Hill has
here,
public sewer.
so I don't know where.
Milford,
Oh, no.
They have-
All right, so I heard,
Right.
going out for,
Yeah, our
a
neighbors.
demographic study of sorts, which would include usually, when districts do that, they would put out an RFP. It's architects, engineering firms do that type of work. So that was put on the table. I also heard, more information about, what could it look like and what would be gained, from a student perspective, with a different building configuration. I heard what would classroom enrollments look like if you went from 3 buildings to 2 buildings. With definitely an eye to those smaller spaces and that there were enough smaller spaces for all the smaller work that does, not smaller work, but
yeah,
one
Support
student, 2
services.
students, meeting in an area. Staffing considerations. So those are the notes that I took. Yes.
About K-6, like we used to have, 7 to 12 at the high school.
And just use the middle school?
Do you want to put a kid on a bus from Zion Hill
Gonna have to add.
to
the middle
Durham
school.
Knox, or, Tinicum design to Springfield? I mean, if we went through this before, we're already having kids on the bus for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're elementary kids, I just think that's too long of a bus ride.
So I can speak to K-6 and 7 to 12. In reality, I went to Malcolm Dixon for 4th grade, coming from public school in New York City. 4th grade and feeding cows over the fence. And then it was bused from Rainstein Road to Tinicum, which was an hour and 5 minutes for 2 years. Then I took the bus to the high school, and my bus went in the opposite direction of the high school. So believe me, when I turned 16, I had driver's license in my hand on my 16th birthday and drove to school for the remaining 2-3 years.
I just feel like the younger kids shouldn't sit on a bus for almost 2 hours a day.
Yeah, we used to, for the kids that were in the Knox Dixon area that went down to Tinicum, they were on for an hour. And then for the Zion Hill
7,
kids
12 here.
that came back,
we had an
before
hour.
the middle school existed, before Durham Knox.
7, 12 where?
Well, that's a good example. I mean, maybe, I'm not crazy about 7th graders being up with the high schoolers, but could we do, I mean, maybe we add a middle school bus run. Like, these are the ideas that have to,
And how much are we gonna actually
yeah,
make
well, and
after they pay the rent?
exactly, yeah, I'm
So that's
not,
when we
I
get our
don't
budget
even begin
increase.
to know what
Yeah,
those
right.
numbers look
Yeah.
like.
But we still have to
But
maintain the
fifth graders
building,
should be on the bus, but
Since
12th
we're
graders
leasing,
should be riding the bus for an hour.
Well,
Like, if we don't know these things,
Like a
we
third
can't go
tier?
to the community with.
they maintain the buildings, they make,
That-
the IU
That
maintains
makes
the
me
building.
agree with you
Yeah, they do.
in that I
Part of
think
the
we
rent.
need somebody that's outside of this, that can look at all of this, yeah, and just break it down into all different kinds of scenarios and spend a whole lot more time on it, where I think our superintendent should be dealing with the things of the district that need to be dealt with. And I don't know that throwing all of that responsibility on top of her is fair to do when she already has her role for the district.
And it sounds like,
Big
to
Donnelly
me, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the biggest plus would be having the IU in Upper Bucks.
Well-
That to me sounds like the biggest. plus.
Yeah, do we know how many, well, that would be, it's just an info question. How many of our students are being transported to a Lower Bucks center? Or how many students are being educated here, though, that could use a program like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If it was in
Lower
Upper,
County is far.
if it's in Upper
um,
County, would more parents say, yeah, that's a better program for my child? And then,
I'm sure.
and that increases the quality of education overall.
Look what happened with our autistic support services over the last year, right?
Mhm. They're going down to Saul.
Okay?
Do you know any companies that
Yeah,
do,
yep. So,
What-
your engineering architectural companies will do that, but I would recommend just doing an RFP and putting it out. It's typically those, companies that do that type of work. So, KCBA, I think, has done that type of work. These are your groups that tend to look at demographic studies and building, capacities and building use and the shape of the building.
Bridget, do you know of, didn't Quakertown try to close something recently, or maybe it was Central Bucks?
They are shutting down buildings.
Quakertown's closed, I think they're knocking the building down.
Because maybe we could look to our neighbors for recent discussions, only to pull like a consultant or somebody that.
Well,
They think they have to go, we really have
Do we know what kind of rent Chamonix's getting?
to consult
So that's the tricky part,
Dollars per
Gary, like,
square
it would
foot.
depend on,
for that.
what that need is. So, like, is there enough parking for the staff? Because Samuel Everett is staff intensive with the
like
support
2 to 1.
folks that are needed. So, parking is a consideration. Would they need to put in more parking? Again, the shape of the building, central air, what they would do next if the board said, come in and take a look, would do a tour. They would tour the facilities and be able to give an idea of, maybe not the number itself. I mean, I could ask what the rent is, but they would be able to say, yes, this would meet our needs, or like, ooh, this seems like it would need, I don't know. I have,
They would-
That seems like a logical next step to have, because maybe they want dorm knocks, maybe they don't, maybe they want to come, maybe, we don't know. And until we have that piece of information, I think that's kind of a gatekeeping item.
Would that be would that be the main drive?
Fuck our Penrich,
of this? Having the IU, getting the IU, or not getting it, but, having the IU here, because I think that makes a big difference on what we're.
I mean, to me personally, it makes a big difference, because think through like selling Durham knocks, well then,
Well, we wouldn't.
I mean, it's literally on our campus, and it gets really complicated really quick, right? Leasing it out to another school, it really does.
and you're
get
constrained by
complicated.
what you can do.
Right.
So it gives us an opportunity that I don't think comes around very often. And I'm saying this as somebody who has bought building closures. So I think at least we have to have this conversation.
Considering the percentage of special education that we have here at Palisades right now, which is what, 20%? And there's. To me, that.
Now you're talking about-
But the IU doesn't support those, a lot of those 20%. I mean, how many kids does the IU support? What are we talking about?
I don't care, I don't have it off the top.
Yeah,
It's not, because they have to be educated in the least restrictive environment, so it's only those kids that need very
Mhm.
specialized classroom placement, to be able to make educational progress.
Because that number does grow.
That-
number is growing.
Durham Knox is also the technological hub of the district. So moving
Yeah,
that would be an undertaking.
I don't think we'd be able to
Well,
let the IU have the whole building. We would still have to have our
What's that?
administrative and your.
it's a closet.
Yeah, but all the fiber's coming in there too.
Yeah.
Surface electric fiber,
Yep.
Crown Castle fiber.
Let's see.
So-
Yeah, I think we just need to.
RFP committee. Am I seeking RFPs for demographic type work to let them know, this conversation?
what are the possibilities,
What
what
are
are the costs?
What are the
our-
configurations?
Yes,
All of that. But at the same time, have the IU come through and,
Yeah.
give us some thoughts on where they are. Again, they're actively seeking, so we know that.
Invite them.
we can have them in.
Get a little more
So-
detail from them.
Sure.
And I think we need to be especially, are we actually going to save money? Because I'm hearing with the lease that we will still maintain the building.
Mhm. Well, no, not necessarily.
So all of that would need to, like,
That's-
that's
That would
all,
all be part of
That's-
the,
Negotiations.
yeah.
yeah, well, and the,
Because if we're still paying for certain, like, if we're still paying for heating and cool, like,
Yeah.
then that overhead's
So
gonna
it's a
eat up
rental.
any savings.
You know, they would be renting the space, so whatever is included in the rental, and I'm totally talking from,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
But that to me goes back to the expert who could run these, not like it doesn't make sense. There's gotta be some profit, not even, profit, that sounds
a
terrible.
break even at least.
A number where it makes some sense and a number where it doesn't, where we're simply, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul, robbing Paul to pay Peter.
Jim, no break even. We're gonna do it, you better make some money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What percentage do you pay to the IU for their budget?
Yeah.
You know?
I need to pull that. And we also get rental income currently from the IU because they run classrooms in our district. So, that's not, you know, that has happened for years, so we do have that
They
relationship.
rent the building, they're gonna be paying us rent, but we're also gonna be paying part of their budget back, so.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
for any services we use. The IU is
No,
a
the rent of the
money-making
building.
deal.
Yeah, but if they rent the building,
Yeah.
their budget's gonna go up. So we're gonna pay more to them in our budget to them.
So
Whatever services we use. No, that's the only thing we pay for that.
now,
That's shared with the rest of the county, that's not just shared.
Everybody
Yeah.
pays for
You
use.
pay your fair share.
You know, there's no fair share.
No.
You pay for what you
We pay
use.
for every kid that we,
I'm saying, if the rent, they're getting the
as
rent,
IU services.
and everybody's sending a kid, they're all gonna have to pay, and ours is gonna go up too.
Ours wouldn't go up.
If we send kids,
Right,
If we send more kids,
Right.
yeah.
that's what I'm saying, that's gonna be.
But typically, they do a better job than we do,
Oh, absolutely.
cost-wise.
Well, the thing of it is too, is that they're gonna find a building somewhere.
Probably.
And if it's not here, it'll be somewhere else, so the numbers are gonna be.
Number.
Yeah, that's not
Whether we get part of that equation or not.
right.
well, that's why I think we need to explore it. That doesn't mean that it's gonna make financial sense at the end of the day, but
Exactly.
it is an opportunity to do something other than to sell the building for some crazy purpose in the middle of our campus. So,
Which is like a no-brainer, and then why would you do that?
yeah.
And then why would you shutter a school and let it sit empty and have it maintained?
Well, and those are the discussions
Well,
we have.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so,
all.
you're under lease, so
You can always go back.
something changes
Yeah.
and we need more
That's
space.
a great point.
That's the.
Springfield Township puts sewer plants in
You've
all
got
over the place,
you've
you
got
change
nothing.
population.
The sun population
I'm not talking
explosion.
about that. Go away, Jim. I'm not gonna vote for you next time.
Okay, so my direction, as I understand it, correct me if I'm RFP for services to be able to do a demographic study and, you know, share their findings. They would come and share their findings. And also have the IU come in and tour our spaces and give us some feedback, and those are the two things at this point.
No, I would. Demographics, I don't know if it's a,
I'm saying
you
demographics,
understand where we're.
I do,
Okay.
and I.
Because it's, I understand like, our population is declining. I don't want to pay somebody to tell us.
No, well, I'm using demographic study, but they do encompass the things that we were talking
Like
about.
different options, the money and all the permutations.
Correct, and I'll check with colleagues of mine that in other districts that I know have done this type of work. They're not gonna be able to hit the programming piece of it, that would be on us anyway.
Yeah.
But from a facilities space, that's what they can do.
So real quick, population in the Palisades School District is not decreasing overall. The age is increasing. Population is slowly going up. But it's not that we have a decreased population, we're just seeing the age shift. And this school is feeling absolutely the effects of that.
Yeah, you could look at that census data, it's pretty, like the
57
average
is the average
age.
age in Springfield Township.
57.
57 is the average age in
I think
Springfield
throughout the
Township.
county, it's 48,
Right.
which is high.
So it's 57 in Springfield Township. I don't know the other townships, I didn't memorize that, so just stick that in your pipe spoken out.
Karen?
Two questions.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to the RFP, but I'm just wondering, I mean, I feel like we've had this conversation 47 times in the last, how many years. do we not have any of that information?
So
We
which
have done it
information would you
before.
like?
Say it again?
We have done a study. We could, well, I'm sure if you hire somebody, they'll have to look at that.
Okay.
Did you
So it is
actually
worth
hire-
doing it again, I guess is what I'm saying.
Did you hire somebody?
We did not hire
Okay.
someone. I,
No.
not for,
The
not in
problem
my,
became getting in front of parents and saying, we're gonna, and then they go up and say, well, what happens to the bus routes? Well, we don't know. What happens if we don't know? And that is.
Can you get that?
So that
So
actually.
if we're
But
gonna
not
make this decision, we better have all the information.
You know 15.
what's that?
It's only
Yeah, right.
15 grand.
Yeah, so
Since we did.
those presentations, Karen, I've had all of that information
Okay.
in previous
So we should
presentations
give that also to,
at that time. But
so. could-
now,
Yeah.
I wasn't presenting our numbers now.
Yeah.
And our configurations now, so,
Well, does it make sense to hold, I mean, certainly start drafting the article. Does it make sense to just get the IU in here sooner rather than later? Because
I
then
can
you might
call
have a
tomorrow.
building preference
sure.
that would inform the RFP right quick, or eliminate the need for an RFP right quick, right?
And I'll
They
make
would
sure,
not be interested.
I'll make sure too, those previous presentations, there's 3 of them that have multiple presentations from each of those years, are on our Buildings and Grounds and Facilities website. So you can look what was
Right.
presented. I mean, it was,
There's a lot of
bus,
stuff.
it was, it's been, I think everything, but it's not right now. Data.
And then my second question is almost coming to what you were saying about, parents coming out. I've about 3/4 of the way through of reading all the comments from the comprehensive plan. And certainly, transparency is a big topic. Again, not surprising for any of us, but where does this go now with the community?
So, I mean, I think we have to be upfront, and that's why we posted it on the agenda. Perhaps we need the IU to look first, because I don't want to cause a panic without needing to. But if the IU is interested in the space and the board agrees to continue to pursue it, then I think it's a letter from the board to the community. And just said, the IU has approached us, we're gonna look at it, we know this is hard, but we need to look at this. And that's how it starts, and then we might need meetings, we might need service.
Sure.
Who knows what we need.
So I will, I can.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at it and just from one perspective here, but I think the other way to look at it too is, let's look at it, what it costs us as a community to run this place per square foot. And at the end of the day, it's gonna boil down to, what does it cost to keep the lights on with a declining population? Yes, we can talk about renting out a space and all that, but the fact of the matter is, if the projections keep on going, which they will be going, and what we're seeing here, and we're only going out less than 10 years to 2035, 2040, 2050, our numbers are gonna be less than what we have here, or what we have. So the reality is, either we lease the space out, or we're gonna have to come up with a decision to close the space. But this is a good place to start. This is what we're just getting numbers here. Just getting there, we're just trying to figure things out. But the inevitable is gonna happen. Might not happen while we're here, but it's gonna happen down the road. And it would be nice for someone to say, hey, look, someone already did a little bit of the heavy lifting for us. Look at what they came up with. We might not come up with a decision today or tomorrow, but we have to look at this seriously. We have a declining population. We have buildings that are gonna age out. We either rent out of space, we might have to rent, might have to rent out of space and or close a building. But it boils down to price per square foot. How much are we gonna be willing to spend per square foot to keep the lights on?
So I'm hearing two different things.
Yeah, there's more than one thing.
That we really are just focused on, does the IU want to rent the space? If not, we're not selling it, we're not, we're not gonna sell a building or whatever. But now I'm hearing that we have to,
Yeah, we have to look at it. It would be, if.
but not just if the IU wants. it. So
Right.
If the IU doesn't want it,
Right.
you're saying that we still have to look at this.
I would, in my heart of hearts, we have to look at this. To be the smart people in the room here, which we are, we have to be realistic with ourselves. We already have numbers at what's gonna be projected in the future. If we're doing our job correctly, we have to see what options are on the table. It might not happen in 5 years, it might not happen in 10, but it's gonna happen sometime. That's the reality of it. It's gonna happen at some time. We have a declining population. Nothing in our world is gonna change that. Not that I can see, not that whatever we're looking at, all right, it's just happening. We can't build new buildings in our 100 square mile Shangri-La. I don't see any more lots coming. There's no more real estate to build, right? We can't produce more.
You're not gonna
Until
put,
we get public utility.
nothing's gonna happen in these
Right.
communities until you can do condensed building. We don't have townhomes in this community, period. That's because you don't have public septic. And that's the only formula. You don't have many rentable dwellings that are small with a high population inside. Springfield Township is looking at their villages, and it's part of our comprehensive plan to see what we can do with our villages. So we're looking at Zion Hill / 309 corridor for businesses. We've missed a couple of opportunities for 55+ communities, to the point where open space was used, their open space needs for another township were used on our grounds. We said that was good. Part of that development, 10 acre per building. On the other side of the line, the absolute opposite. And no tie-in with sewer. It's like, how much sense does that make in the grand scheme of things? And what we do absolutely reflects what happens in the school district, as all the other municipalities. Springfield Township is the closest to any of that in this municipality, that are being served by the school. So, taking a look at that and how it all kind of overlays.
And we even had presentations, maybe the last time we discussed this. Karen, you may remember, we had Springfield Township come in. We looked at the population growth throughout the county, where there was development, where there was no development. Like, we are all green up here.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful.
Right. I
But
think
there's not.
the other half that I wear is the ag preservation side.
Mhm.
33% of Springfield Township is preserved in one manner or another, that it will not be developed, period.
Yeah.
And other
It's
municipalities within the school district are in the same field. It is.
Okay, 1, contact the IU for them to come and take a look at our buildings. 2, I'm gonna have all previous presentations, we'll work to get all of those in one location, so those that have not been part of those in the past can click through and see what we talked about in 2014 and 2018, and then it was recently again, I don't remember when that was. And then I'll reach out to my colleagues that have done this type of work to get more information about who they used, and then what information, like what did their demographic, I'm using my words, what did their demographic studies look like, and what did they get from that? Fair? Okay. Great job, everyone. Jim?
I
Jim?
don't know if that's something that we could put on you, but to look and see what would improve our
Yeah.
current program.
Yep,
I don't know how
Yep.
to say that.
not a problem.
Give
Yep.
us either in-house or
Yep,
somebody else to do,
Sure.
to look at the program itself and see. And then there's a lot.
yep,
There's a lot involved.
okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course.
Is that it, Al? Gary.
That's A.
Yeah, that
Now
was-
we're going
That
on
was
to
A,
B.
let's move on to B. We want to the high school auditorium lighting, Gary.
Yes, so we spoke with Blue Chip Sound and Lighting, and they would not be able to do the whole project or engineer the whole project for that matter for the high school auditorium. They would only be able to handle the stage lighting piece of that. Also, they are not on any kind of bid list, so we would either have to go out to bid for that part or go to somebody that's already on a bid list to
Contract with them.
perform that work. Yeah, so I'm currently in contact with another company that's on CoStars for both audio and lighting. So they would be able to perform the whole project under the CoStars statewide bid, if that's a possibility. But Blue Chip Sound and Lighting said even if we went out to bid, they probably would not be the lowest bidder, so they probably would not get the job anyway. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm looking at companies that could do the whole project and possibly engineer it through one of the statewide bid lists, CoStars, Sourcewell, Keystone, Pepum, what have you.
So, just to refresh my memory, the scope of the project, the high school auditorium, is the house lighting,
House lighting,
And
stage
this-
lighting,
the stage lighting,
and acoustics.
Acoustics.
and acoustics, you know, whatever they call
The
those.
clouds, panels,
Okay.
That's where the
acoustician.
acousticians comes in.
Yeah, I can't say that.
It's a real word.
Have Gary say it 10 times.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I'm still looking at people, I'm still looking at companies to do the work. And if I can't find anybody that could do it under a statewide bid list, then we should probably go out to bid for the project.
Thanks, Gary.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
You need to do that.
So we'll move on to C, tennis courts. Once again, as you remember from the past, we had the big cracks opening. It is now back
Open
to.
again?
Yeah,
Oh,
needing
I thought we fixed that, but
I thought we tried to.
5 years
So-
ago or?
3 times.
So when we talked about this probably 10 years ago, I would say we had a study done and they would have to dig down. That was when they were saying, like, it's built on,
It's still.
yeah, so it's going to shift. So at that time, they discussed digging out 6 feet down and then putting new base down or every 5 years, you're gonna have to patch it. And at that time, it was the patch approach, and we are at that time again to repatch, and that's when they cut down that line and then seal over, but it's not in good shape right now.
It was actually, I'll just add to that, it was actually first done in July of 2013. And then it was patched again in 2018. And in 2019, it was the last time that we did the major. That was $74,500 to do all the cracks.
So
And
cracks
the
are
problem is
resurfaced, the whole thing.
Yeah.
where the crack ends, it seems like it continues then in a year or two. You know what I mean? Like
It's
it
just,
just doesn't end. But
It's just a big area. It's black and.
it's at a point where, I don't know, you can fix it. You're gonna be fixing it every 5 years, you know?
Is there another
Which is
place
another-
we can move the tennis courts to? Is there,
I asked that question too, like, what's not shifting?
yeah,
What's not on the fault line?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
not in the fault line?
That's very close to it. It would, the basketball
That's
court,
shifty too.
actually, the basketball court used to be the tennis court,
Oh, really?
Oh,
right? There's two courts there.
So, Al, I have a question there. So the material that they're putting down, it's like a rubberized, what is that material called?
Yeah, it's like a very, very, what do they call it? I guess it's like a vulcanizing that they put over top of the asphalt. Almost like the track,
Okay.
the all-weather track. So basically you have an asphalt base and that's what's cracking open, but it takes the covering, you know.
So
what
it's
they call it.
asphalt.
So when they coat it, it's like 3 coats and they just, you know, it might be a 1/4 inch thick by the time they're done, and then they paint it. Yeah,
So have they come back with a study that they think it might be a freeze-thaw effect that after a period of years is causing that? Or is it just a composite material?
we have what's
I think
called pyrite shale.
Yeah, it's what's underneath it.
Right, so it's the water getting in there, you're gonna have the heating, and then you're gonna have all that. no matter
Wasn't
what.
there like gases involved too? When
Yeah,
we were talking about come up,
yeah.
and like that
Yeah.
also buckles it?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
But if you look at our parking lots, they're the same way. I've patched
yeah,
several different places where it'll open up probably inch and a half.
it's regular shale.
It's radiant shale that we have there.
Yeah, they had another word for it, something like pyritic shale.
Yeah, that-
It's just, there's no.
There's nothing you can do
It's
with it.
gonna have, you know, it's just,
That's the reason why someone suggested going down that 6 feet, getting that out of there and, putting compact aggregate down.
Yeah, but even that won't fix it, because it still moves.
Kind of the same way they deal with the interstates. Take a look at how they get the interstates down. You've been watching what they've been doing in Northeast Extension.
I think we're gonna have to go back to grass tracks.
15 minutes.
What, put in clay
Yeah, what's a
court?
Clay court.
Yeah, clay
Yeah,
court.
clay
Oh my goodness. that was-
Like Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Wooden rackets.
Don't think that- Is it the big thing to have?
Never played on a grass court.
Can we take our kids to that country club? where-
Yeah, it's exciting. Transport them.
Wherever they're playing golf, they've got to have a
Might be
tennis.
cheaper.
Reinforced concrete.
I did. I put, yeah, so.
There's no other
I can
place
figure it
to
out right now.
move the tennis courts.
Nothing any better than what's there.
Yeah.
Plus, who knows where there's that
Yeah,
shale.
just put the
Yeah.
Trying to 75,000 on it, so.
I know the only, and they don't make it, it's too big an area to make a floating system. That it's independent of what, other than sitting there.
Yeah.
And there's nothing ridiculous anything like that.
And I don't remember the exact number. I mean, I know the last repair was 75,000 back in 2019.
It won't be less.
Just, oh, it won't be less.
But they, the last thing we did was they cut out all the old spots. They supposedly put it in and put some sort of reinforcing in
They
there
put some kind of filler in
Mm-hmm.
and then.
and then
coated the whole
recovered the
track.
whole
Yeah.
area
Yes.
and painted it. So it was a complete rehab.
Yeah.
So at this point, are we looking at that again or?
Yes, you tell me. Which way would you like me to look? A repair or,
Well,
I mean, we're almost at a point where I don't even think we could play on it next year, to be honest with you.
Do we have any kind of warranty when they did it 5 years ago or?
You're right, 5-year warranty.
And we're out of it.
2019.
You know why lawyers write the warranties the way they write?
We've exceeded it.
You have any insight in that?
Yeah.
Notice
where
how
we're
they
at by
break
2 years.
right after the warranty is done. Yeah, there's studies.
So I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but that's the tennis court repair, line 16.
75,000.
Yeah,
Well, 75,000 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's gonna be more than that.
Yeah.
I guess that's my question. I mean, I've just gone into this not knowing what
Yeah.
Well,
the committee would like me to look into.
I guess I'd like to see repairing it that'll last 5 to 8 years. We know that.
Okay.
But can we repair it and have a very nice surface? For
right.
Right.
5 years.
Right. The last time we did that, so we did a repair in 2018,
No, it
just to get us
lasted
through the
3 years.
season.
Yeah.
And that was just basically fill the cracks and put a coating. It didn't look very nice, when they were done, but it was
Functional.
playable.
Yeah. Yeah, you should check it out if you
Yeah, I
haven't
should.
seen it.
But other than the obvious cracks, the fence is okay, the netting is okay. We're not
You're
talking about
distracted by
doing
the cracks. At least I am. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's
Is there any-
tripping, it's more of a safety.
anything. Yes,
Yeah.
sure. Is it worth keeping the good parts for now?
That's the question. Do we want to continue to do this every
I don't plan on-
7 years?
Play on it, so I don't know.
It cracks
varies,
along
yeah.
the net.
Like I said, they'll do a repair and it'll be fine. Then it'll continue from where they repaired it and go the rest of the way across. And it can, in this amount of time, it's opened up again.
I don't see any way of permanently fixing it with the,
When they did
where
that
it is.
6-foot dig down, but that was what, like
It
250,000?
was a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
not-
whole
You're redoing the whole,
Renovation.
you're redoing the whole.
Yeah, they gotta dig it all out, try to get down to some solid ground that won't move and then fill it back up again
right.
with stuff that won't move,
Compacted stuff is what they would do.
which is,
So you said,
I'm just saying,
no, you said about golf goes, you know, is it? It's a lot, that's a lot of money to repair something, or if you redo the whole thing, there's no guarantee that it's not going to happen again, you know, and this is a constant
yeah,
draw
The
of money. The maintenance of it,
Right.
It is.
Team.
it is, but is it,
We need to know the numbers.
is it more advantageous to have them do something like golf is doing, where they go and play elsewhere? Or is that would not be an option? That would be an extra, that would be a Brian question.
where
I
that
don't know
would
where to
be.
go either. That wouldn't be using the tennis.
If they wouldn't, we do that, they wouldn't have any.
The YMCA.
It would have to be a club coming in.
Yeah.
Sport.
That's close.
Right.
And Rich has a new courts too.
Yeah, Quakertown is really.
Like you wouldn't be able to host any.
Right.
So how old are those courts up
Possibly.
there?
It would be
How old are the
Right.
courts?
Yeah, I mean,
unusual to do it for tennis. Like
Yeah.
swimming, we don't have a pool, so we do have
California
some
River.
swimmers that go to Quakertown and now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
lacrosse,
But that's,
Christian Township.
We don't have a field. We don't have enough kids to field
I
it.
know, but they're playing
Yeah.
some other,
but the indoor isn't
how
public.
many,
Kids.
The
how
indoor is
many
not
kids are we
public,
talking about
but
in tennis?
The tennis zone,
Well,
I mean, it's
the old,
enough to
Same
field
guy
the
that does all
team.
the art.
tennis zone, yeah.
the old
Rude
community
arts.
foundation, Palisade Community Foundation put the original courts in,
Correct.
which wasn't, it was called something else then.
So
John,
what if I look into a temporary repair to get us through this year? And we look at pricing for
full
doing a
renovation.
complete renovation on it?
Yeah.
Because the last time we did a partial on
Spending
18, it was
$200,000 every 5 years.
like
Yeah.
$7,000, and it basically was, like I said, it wasn't pretty when it were done. It wasn't like a complete court, you know, colors won't match
But
exactly.
but it'd be playable.
It'll be playable.
Yeah, not,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, I
We
think
got all the
that's,
navels
Yeah.
or
That's,
Shabby chic.
shield.
Purple-ish in
Yeah.
places.
just let some of the students put their names on. Like
No,
you're
like
doing in
our,
the parking
like
lot.
our seniors in their spots.
Let them paint it.
There you
yeah.
go.
There we go.
Okay. All right, we'll continue with bad news. The high school emergency generator, the alternator burned up on it. So we have another rental generator to get us through the
You're
winter.
talking about the alternator on the engine or the
The
communicator?
The generator
Generator
itself,
itself?
the electric
Ah.
generator itself. So we're hoping to be able to get just that replaced, the generator, the alternator itself. If not, we're gonna have to replace the whole generator. It's a shame because the motor's in good shape, has just been redone.
That's a diesel engine, isn't it?
Yes, it's a diesel engine.
And
So,
it's a 150?
Onan, 105, Onan, yeah.
So,
You get cold.
sorry, that's a high school generator.
High school emergency
The
generator, yes,
alternator just went on,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And, okay, thank you.
How old is it?
Oh, it's not that
2000
old.
renovation.
It's just done when the
Yeah, it was just done when it was
renovations were
Yeah.
renovated, 2002, so it's 23, 4 years old, 24 years old.
done. Mm.
We're getting into that cycle, 25 years.
Yeah.
You can get the part.
What's that?
They still make them?
Part.
That's what I'm looking into, if we can just get the alternator itself, because like I said, the motor itself, excuse me, it's got a big John Deere on it,
There's
and
companies out there rewind it even if you take it to, I had to do that with the 57 Caterpillar generator at the Kentucky Hospital. We took the alternator to be rewound.
do you have any information on companies like that? Because we're dealing with Modern, and Modern, you know, they said it couldn't be redone, so,
What used to be Emergency Systems, which has been taken over by another company. That's who we work with, and the previous owners are still there with the company, so they would have that.
Right there in California, or a pumping station.
They're the folks that we use for most of the hospital
Okay.
systems in the area use them.
There you go, maybe
It's
some
worth a
good
look.
Yeah,
news there.
look into it.
We love community participation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank
There
you.
used to be a guy on Old Bethlehem Road, if you caught him on the right day when he wasn't drinking, that's the guy to rebuild stuff like that. Fortunately, he's no longer around. Probably.
I know her like the back of my hand.
Oh. Okay,
Kind of.
kind of.
You have to turn this thing
I
off.
contributed.
What?
You have to turn that thing off before you
Why?
go.
Oh, before we go? Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to the 5-year capital projects plan. Gary and I put together. Gary, you want to start off with you have way fewer things than I do.
So the paging systems are getting to the point where we can't get parts for them anymore at the high school and middle school. We've already budgeted this year to replace the ones at Tinicum and update the one at Durham Knox. So those won't need any replacing, but the high school and middle school will. Interactive projector upgrades, we're still moving forward with those. We added some to the elementary level. We want to finish those off this coming year. Backup system upgrades. I need to get some new storage servers for the backup systems. So that's what that is. I think we still have safety and security upgrades and replacements. So that's like cameras and things like that. And security systems for the district. If we scroll down,
That's for next.
You want me to do?
or do you want to do?
Yeah,
All right.
we'll do it. Okay, so on my end, Springfield, the rooftop units for the main office and library, under a CoStar's contract, I got that pricing for $160,000 for those 2 units.
Is that air conditioning?
Yes. Air conditioning and heat.
And
Yeah.
okay.
In Palms, HVAC control upgrade, which we talked about in the past. That's something that's been needed for a while. It's the old pneumatic system, which is really hard to get parts for, and nobody really works on it anymore. It would add a lot. It would save a lot of money as far as energy costs. It would also be a more comfortable building to be in. Next item is a guesstimate. I don't have actual price, any kind of pricing on that yet, but the auditorium renovation of $3 million. So you go, when I talk to the architects, you can go anywhere between $2 and $6 million for a project like that. It's a complete gut, new HVAC units for the auditorium, lighting, sound, the works, seating.
Seating, get rid of that partition.
The partition would go, yeah, it would make it more of an open area for the auditorium. Then we have the Palms High School steps and Durham Knox-Mixon parking lot. We're looking at a cutout, handicap accessible cutout on the, I would say the east end. Drop off where the drop off loop is. Right now it's just a step up. And we have a need right now for a handicap accessible cutout. Gary mentioned district-wide safety upgrades, also district-wide safety bollards. We have that in to go over a few. Treatment plant, demolition and installation of the physical plant. We had paid, I believe it was $500,000 so far. We're looking at about $1,250,000 to complete that project. The bids were due in today. I didn't get any confirmation on where the bids came in at this point. I hope to have it by, fiscal on the 15th, I believe it is. So hopefully I'll have that in a day or two. Just talked about the tennis court repairs, and then, we're gonna continue the Durham Knox second floor hallway tile replacement and asbestos abatement on the floor tile mastic. That's $120,000. And purple and gold gym replacement, this is a carryover if we need it. I'm hoping that it's in this year's budget, and hopefully they can get it in, complete it in June. So we wouldn't have to carry anything over for that.
Talking about the roof and the floor.
The roofs for both gyms
Gyms.
are in really bad shape.
You can get that for 150?
Next year. You wanna go to next year?
Um,
You wanna go through all, everything, or just what's
I think that's why don't we stick to 26,
26,
27 for
27?
this meeting, but in a future meeting, we'll take a look at, in looking at how. like,
future?
Yeah, the future ones, how long we put them in, whether they're out of warranty, that whole presentation we can do.
That's something that,
Do you have a extended capital plan for 3, 5, 7, 10, 15? For the district? as a whole?
5 year.
You only want 5?
That's what this is 5. Yeah, we used to only go to 3.
In the grand scheme of it, behind the scenes, do you have like a longer projection of things that will need to be replaced so that you are working towards those?
Yeah, so we take a look at our, items and see where they are at end, like, of their life, and then how much more, we have some things that are 20-year,
Life
and we're
expectancy?
correct,
Yeah.
and we're just in year 1. So we do have our eye to those as well, but what we focus on is sort of that 5-year.
Okay, so equivalent 67 miles of road. How often do you have to repave those 67 miles of road? Once every 15 years? How do you get there? You know, the tractor trailer, the triaxle, how often do you have to replace that Mack triaxle, which $245,000?
Yep, I have things in there like maintenance vehicles and
Yep.
things like that, yeah.
the only thing that,
Of your expenditures.
the only thing that he doesn't have here is the textbook. Now, we put 500,000 over into a dedicated account for that. But the numbers over there could be substantially more than that.
Are they renovating?
The 5-year plan over there at the tech school, we're only looking at, what are we at, 12% of the cost? So $500,000 will go a long way. But they're looking at some pretty big ticket items over there, which we have to get considered.
So
On the back burner.
5 years.
if I'm not mistaken, I know there was a presentation that was given, I do not know when that was given, about the whole need for HVAC things over at Springfield. And when the number was given, it was shot down. And then not too long after that, Mr. Davis was here and shared some needs and whatnot over there. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there were a number of those things that came through from the survey, again, for needs at Springfield to keep temperature control at a more even keel. They get cold spots, kids are freezing, it's unbearably hot at times, things like that were coming through. Am I missing something here that we're gonna be addressing some of these things at Springfield?
Well, there's,
Over the 5-year plan, it will be. What I had to do was spread it out because when I did a study for the whole district, okay, through Snyder Hoffman for air conditioning and heating and air conditioning. And at that time, the numbers weren't there. So first step is the rooftop replacement. Next year, we're going to be looking at the multi-purpose room. And then we're going to be looking at the controls. So it's over, like I said, I got to keep the numbers within a reasonable amount. And that's, I mean, if you give me the money to do it all tomorrow, I'll take care of it.
I mean, here's that multi-purpose room number. And to do it,
The roof needs to be replaced.
I'm sorry?
And the roof, that's contingent on the roof. So the roof needs to be done first.
No, the roof's in good shape.
it's the rooftop unit.
It's a roof.
It's rooftop unit. It's the air conditioning units from the rooftop.
The air handler and the, it's that big square noise.
The only roof is the high school roof. The rest of the flat roof
I
is
read that.
done.
Okay.
So the multi-purpose room is in for, will be in the 27, 28, but if the committee wants to.
Move it out.
I mean, that's,
Is that the cafeteria?
I just feel like making an announcement.
Cafeteria, gym,
So
yeah.
long. I wasn't in agreement actually with totally ditching what that other gentleman presented. But, you know, the board really didn't say anything because the committee squashed it, didn't they?
We're talking about
It
that.
never went on to.
That's
Everyone,
my-
one, remember, it was
that's
like
my-
2 million or
Oh,
something?
That was to,
do
that
the whole
was
building?
full
That was the
air
whole building.
conditioning at
Yes.
Durham.
Springfield.
Yeah.
Springfield. Because they would have had to breathe through the electrical, incoming electric and everything. But we have currently wouldn't support that.
I remember that discussion. All right, yeah. That's constrained by the board, so if the board has a different idea, so you need to lobby the board.
But look at this 5-year,
Well, so Al, the way that you're approaching this, will they notice differences with the winter season coming? Well, not this year.
I thought
right?
heat
This would
was
be
the
for the
problem.
next winter.
It's gonna be the next winter because,
Next
yeah, the
winter.
controls are outdated. They were from 2000 is when Springfield was renovated, and that technology is out the window. Yes, it's not supported anymore. So Gary, you can hit on that, how, you know,
Mhm. Okay.
Any questions for next year?
we're gonna put a line item in for your repairs.
Yeah.
It was good to unplug, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You just have those?
Yes. So I'll go through these real.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to informational. Treatment plan update, the culvert project is complete, and has been, I had the bill to pay out on that. And the new treatment plant and all the, site work, supposed to have the, bids were due today. I don't have the exact, final on that.
Are we pretty much on target with what was scheduled? Or-
Project's on target.
or
The project's on target, yeah.
we are on
Yeah,
target?
the culverts, that's completed. That was supposed to be completed by November. I think they completed it somewhere around the 13th of November. So it's just getting the final paperwork and everything.
Okay, good.
Palms Auditorium, again, that's out, that's at the architects. I don't have anything back yet on estimates or, so it's in the design phase. Durham Knox Emergency Generator, that bid work is out at the solicitor right now. We haven't heard back from them, if they approve that. So hopefully that'll go out to bid very shortly. And the warehouse van has been received on November 13th. So we have a brand new utility van for deliveries. And that's all I have. Next meeting is scheduled for January 28th, my wife's birthday.
Yay, happy
That's also my sister's birthday.
Yay.
I have a question. Did we finally get our CO?
Or,
The pole building.
Whole building.
no, I didn't get any plantings done yet.
So,
So-
question on the plantings. Are we waiting for someone to drop plants off to us, or we need to go purchase these plants and put them in the ground?
I was waiting to have somebody Yeah, put them in.
So, hold on a second.
So Ed Litzenberger did the site work.
Right,
So that was part of the site work.
hey, so Listenberger has to put them in.
Yes.
So they're dragging their feet, it's been over 6 months, they haven't put it in.
Yeah, it has been 6 months.
It's been 6 months, we've been talking about this for at least 6 months.
Yeah, but that's the last thing they do.
Well, it's the last one we're waiting on for CO. I mean, we've heard it for the last 4 or 5 meetings for the planting. And how many plants they got to plant there, Al?
Like,
Bunch.
yeah, it's like 23 or 24.
23 or 24 plants?
Yeah.
Do we owe them money still?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, hold on a second. But then do we have a clause in there, a completion clause, that if they haven't done this, that they're gonna owe us money? So, well, no, listen, I know we know them, they're in the neighborhood, but we're waiting on a CO, and we can't get 23 plants planted, and we paid them already. That's like me telling my wife, hey honey, I'm sorry, I paid for the trip, but I forgot the sweet that you wanted, they don't have it.
Yeah, but
So
if-
you're gonna have to get a little shack by the water and no bottled water.
Saul,
If you're planting
Saul,
those
it's,
plants in August or September,
Okay,
they're probably not gonna live.
but we're now in October, November, and December.
So if you couldn't get them in August and September, you're not gonna get them live now. They're gonna have to wait till spring.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they live. If the guy comes and they're planted and they die in
We've been talking
6
about this
months.
forever.
So,
but I
yeah,
want to
just-
see
it
how-
hasn't been paid for yet, Saul. We don't owe them any, it's T&M. That part of it was T&M.
Right,
Okay? Same with the macadam work that was done. They did that.
right.
Okay? It's just finishing it up to get, we have a temporary CO. We're using the building.
Okay.
So
Okay. I didn't know that. Excuse me, I don't recall that part.
we have the
So
T, yeah,
how long is the temporary CO good for? Do we have to renew it every 90 days?
no.
They usually stretch them up to a year.
Yeah, I think it was a year,
Yeah.
or 12 months.
Yeah, time to stretch it out to
Usually
2 years. Might be a while. I have some seedlings at home I'll work on. I got some chestnuts.
Okay.
Make sure it's on the right list. Type plants, certain calibers.
Yep, it's gotta be a certain amount of greens with a certain amount of hardwoods with.
Oh, yeah.
Just get
Alright.
blow up ones and plant them and
Next
Thanks,
meeting, January
everyone.
28th.